Morning. My thought for today comes to you at dog barking dawn, I think you'd call it. But as the sun starts to rise in the sky here for another day, a Saturday here in the Philippines, my thoughts go back to some of the realizations that over the last 12 weeks that I've been here in Bulacan is that it's taken a lot of soul searching for myself to realize that those that were around me were actually holding me back. But I never saw it, of course, because I placed so much of my dreams, my thoughts, my happiness around one person. And of course, when we do that in life, when that person lets you down or you feel no longer of any use to them, it can be soul destroying in itself. And it does take a while to readjust one's mindset about life itself. You know, stepping away from what I now know to be not what I was looking for. Took me 10 years to realize that, but some of us are slow learners. But, oh, look at the sky. I don't know whether that'll pick it up. Look at the sky early in the morning. Look at the clouds. Amazing. Isn't nature wonderful? But, yeah, I mean, often people will refer to some of my videos as being bitter. I sound bitter. Do I? I never thought of myself as being a bitter person. Disappointed sometimes. Disillusioned, yes. But it doesn't attach itself specifically to life in the Philippines, because life in the Philippines, as he sits along a water channel, life in the Philippines is what you make it. It's not about other people who make it for you. And even at 77, almost a few days now, it's a constant reminder that life goes on. You know, no matter how much any relationship that you form anywhere in the world relies on two people's common interests, common goals. And when, of course, that is shattered, at any age, it's difficult for many of us to come to terms with some of the truths of a relationship. In my case, it didn't kick in as quickly as it probably should have. I should have heard the alarm bells earlier. I should have realized that some people just are dog in the manger, to use that expression. But again, that might sound bitter, but the reality is that none of us as men, I think, will find it easy to accept that somebody has chosen another person of the same persuasion. And of course, dealing with that has taken its toll on me, simply because of my own self-esteem. And those around me have also pointed it out, that I needed to do this or needed to do that. And we all appreciate the help of those that can see life from outside looking in, because for many of us, we don't see what others can see quite clearly. I mean, I've met people here who I thought were one thing, and soon discovered that they were really not at all what they presumed that they were portraying to others. You know, kindness cannot be dished out with dollar notes. Friendships cannot be bought. They're earned. They're appreciated by those that see no value in anything but friendship. And of course, when things go pear-shaped, and each of us have to deal with our own situation, it's even harder when you hear of the hardship where you've come from, showing its ugly head, and desperation being the daily dose of reminders from back home. But then, of course, you try your best to offer some advice, some help. Often the call is for money, of course, because when you're thrown back to the wolves, it's much harder to pick yourself back up. Fortunately, those that surround me now don't live at the beck and call of others. They live with a certain amount of stability and security. And I suppose that's what we all seek in life. But dealing with the day-to-day reminders, the day-to-day issues, constantly being communicated by those you've left behind, can be fraught with danger. You know, family is important here in the Philippines, and when things go wrong, you would automatically assume that family would rally around and help. In my particular case, it wasn't left to me, but I decided that I would call upon their help to maybe help those that needed it or were in desperate situation. But I was quickly reminded that maybe I was a good person, which was good for my ego. And it was appreciated, but it also became quite clear that they themselves were being maybe harsh, but also fair by standing away and letting the other people sort their own lives out. Now, how much of that is saving face and sibling rivalry, I don't know, but their advice in the long run has actually proved to me that maybe they did take the right move, because we can show somebody ourselves, even though we're in a difficult place at the moment. It means that you care, and I'm just not the kind of person that can walk away and leave people suffering. Okay, whether it's their fault or his fault or her fault, it makes no difference. Maybe I don't like to see myself as a good Samaritan, but I do care about people's outcomes, especially when they have involved myself in the past. And therefore, when you see a problem that you know you can solve for them, and you maybe steer them that way, and you then find out that, yes, they've managed to get over that hurdle, and everything is honky-dory to a degree now. It's a blessing for you. It's a sigh of relief that things will probably work out okay. But to have no appreciation of your efforts, to be effectively told you're still surplus to one's requirements. It's a hard pill to swallow. And especially when you have built up relationships with all of the family as a whole over the last decade. It's even harder pill to swallow, because you know that a lot of it's about, again, saving face. And the concept of leading a horse to water and not being able to make it drink though fits the bill so easily. It's not a case of doom and gloom. It's just that one always lives in hope. Lives in hope that not necessarily that a relationship will survive or recover. It's more about the fact that they might realize one day they made a dreadful mistake, just like we can. You know, if I look back on the last 10 years here in the Philippines, they've been great years, regardless of the ups and downs. And to think of giving up would be alien to me, even though I have an alien something with a guard. Therefore, he lives to fight again another day. And that is probably the message that I want to get across to people. That no matter how much we try and help people, we can't expect them to react the way we think they might, or we might wish them to. You know, people can bail them out financially, people can offer great moral support, but there tends to be an element missing in the Philippine mindset that it's actually nice to thank somebody in a meaningful way, not a, oh, thank you, that's it. Because the thank you, that's it, is not really a thank you. You know, you can lend people money and they can, in a desperate situation, and they can suggest they're going to reimburse you over a period of time. You know, forget it, waste of time. It was a helping hand, that's all it is. Yes, you might say, well, how about you look at repaying me? But what does that achieve? Nothing. You just hope that they are where they say they are. Personally, I don't think they are. I think they will struggle and to a degree suffer, but that in itself is something that so many Filipinos do so well. They do suffer and deal with issues quite well, really. Faced with the reality of life here in the Philippines, they have a certain amount of resilience. Look at it, the light has come up. It appears lighter on the video than it does in reality. But that's the early morning. Look at those lovely clouds. They might mean rain, but they're still very nice to watch. But the message I'm getting through, it's not intentional that I spread this doom and gloom on the internet. It's just a reality that when things go wrong, there will be an element of disappointment and regret. And as a warning to those out there, this is more likely going to be a part of your lives here in the Philippines, because there's nobody else that can save you, so to speak, except yourself. If you don't have that resilience to bounce back, if you don't have that ability to, I suppose, move on and shrug it off, then you're going to have difficulty no matter where you live in the world. And those that suggest that life is such a wonderful place, you must come to the Philippines and live, Philippines just is one place in the world. And it's true that many of you come here for financial reasons to survive at a better level than you would maybe back home in your own country financially, especially if you're on a fixed budget of a state pension or a small annuity from savings over the years. But for myself, I gave my whole wealth. I stupidly, or did I? We all move into relationships, again, with no plan B. There is no plan. Love, romance, common sense. It's easy to reflect afterwards. But that's not real life. We don't, unless of course you're one of those people that we can't talk about, that have everything sussed out. Prenup agreements and you name it, all tied up by various lawyers and attorneys. What kind of chance have they got having a worthwhile relationship? Who knows? After all, the rate of divorce or separation around the world is way over 50% chance. So those that are lucky that they've managed to stay together for any period of time, whether in the Philippines or not, they don't know how lucky they are, mate, as Fred Dagg would have said. And we just have to get on with it. We just have to enjoy that. But there are so many things here in lifestyle, in surroundings, in the people. And people are all different no matter where they are around the world. It's been said by many that Philippines is full of jealousy. Sure is. Jealous of this, jealous of that. And good morning, cock-a-doodle-doos. That's your 100-odd cock-a-doodle-doos, fighting cocks, just over the fence there. And jealousy leads to all sorts of strange behaviours. Envy, paranoia also, you can be paranoid with jealousy. You can see things that nobody else can see, but they honestly believe what their brain is telling them. And how can you compete with that? Mind over brainwaves, impossible. And I think we've done enough talking today to last me for at least another 10 minutes. But as the light comes up and I've had a little bit of a walk, it's good to be heading back for maybe some nice cup of coffee, a smiling face, hopefully, and another day, another weekend day. Isn't that quick how a week goes by? It's been almost a week since the elections here in the Philippines, and around the area here, the current order from above was that all electioneering stuff must be taken down. 5 days to do it. And sure enough, the street now looks so much cleaner without all these funny faces staring at you at every fence, every wall. So good on the president for coming up with that as an order to sort it all out. Take my hat off to the guy. But guys, don't be put off about coming to the Philippines. Plenty of fish out there, plenty of fish in the sea, plenty of opportunity. If at first you fail, try again, and try again. That's my motto. Don't know what yours is, but we just hope you have a lovely weekend. and we'll have to come up with something else later. So we'll catch you up later then. Bye now.